Hey everybody, welcome back to Kavanaugh's Corner. As always, I'm Andrew Kavanaugh. I want to say thank you so much for coming back to the channel. So I'm big into physical media, and if you are too, definitely subscribe to my channel here because I do basically all reviews of 4K Blu-rays, standard Blu-rays, new movies when they come out on home video, as I like to call them, even though we've moved past the days of VHS and everything. Now we're on 4K Blu-rays, which is just crazy to me. The most recent videos I've done have been on the three most recent James Cameron releases that came out last week. And the one that I'm reviewing today is the one that came in latest. This one just came in a couple days ago. I was actually not really excited for this one because I've seen this on Blu-ray in the past. And, you know, that Blu-ray was actually pretty good, but we got it on 4K, and I was actually really pleasantly surprised about that, and that is, of course, Aliens, the sequel to the Ridley Scott film that came out in 1979. This bad boy here came out in 86, and I gotta say, this is a movie that I absolutely love. Much like The Abyss and True Lies, this is kind of its own little masterpiece. You know, James Cameron is really fantastic at mixing sci-fi and action. Obviously, you know, best with the Terminator and Terminator 2. But this here kind of took it to a whole other level. The scale of this film is just absolutely massive. Sigourney Weaver, Michael Biehn, Bill Paxton, they are all fantastic. I mean, really, the entire cast is really fantastic. James Horner's music in this is one of the best scores ever, in my opinion. The track that's near the end of the film that's called Bishop's Countdown, I think is the name of it, that has been featured in more movie trailers than I think any other piece of a score maybe ever. It is unbelievably exciting. The movie is thrilling, it's scary, it's full of action. You know, get away from her, you bitch. I mean, these are just absolutely outstanding moments in this film, and I cheer every time Ripley comes out with the power loader thing. I just can't help but like just go crazy every time I see that. It is really one of the best of its kind, and now we have it in 4K. This is actually a 3-disc set here, much like The Abyss. I'm going to open it up so you can see it. There's the 4K disc here. There's a standard Blu-ray as well underneath it that has both versions of the film, and there's also a third disc over here. I love the artwork with the power loader. I love that. That third disc has got all the special features on it, so that's really cool. It also comes with a digital code, and that digital code does redeem in 4K through Movies Anywhere. Again, for whatever reason, I wasn't really too hyped up about this, but once I popped that 4K disc in, everything kind of changed. Of the 3 releases, I am very happy to say that this is probably my favorite transfer out of all of them. And I'll explain to you why. We're going to jump right into the picture quality here, talking about the picture quality. I'll also talk about audio and the special features and stuff at the end. But the picture quality on this is absolutely phenomenal. I loved the way this movie looked. I actually think this is the truest to the original look of the film than any of the other releases. Aliens has similar issues as the other two. And again, I've talked about this in those other 2 reviews. If you want to hear what I thought completely about The Abyss and True Lies, definitely check out the other videos here on my channel. I go way into depth with those. I'm not going to really get into that. But with Aliens, the same kind of process was used for the transfer. So there has been some kind of artificial intelligence used to not only do some digital noise reduction on the film, which is greatly apparent because this movie has never looked so clean. There is some very, very light grain in the picture at times, but most of the time it's kind of missing in action. Like, it's almost completely gone. On top of that, there's also been this other technology used that has been used to sharpen up the picture artificially, much like The Abyss. And in this case, I didn't see it as bad as True Lies, and it wasn't completely noticeable all the time, but there were some shots where people just seemed kind of smooth it out. And again, that's the technology of that digital noise reduction. Aliens just looked like aliens to me. It definitely looked way sharper than any other version of the film that I've seen. Detail level was through the roof most of the time. Again, it's one of these on and off things where there were certain scenes where certain shots just looked heavily, heavily DNR'd, and then there were some other shots where everything looked really, really crisp and clean and very detailed. It was on and off, but in this case, I'm glad to say it was more detailed than it was smoothed out, and I'm very happy about that. It is a film from the mid-'80s, so it was shot on film. All three of these movies that came out last week were all shot on film. And so when you use that digital noise reduction, you are going to lose some of that detail. In this case, there were certain scenes where that other technology that was used to sharpen everything up went into overdrive. And it looked artificial, but it didn't really bother me, and it wasn't really as noticeable as like True Lies or in certain moments of The Abyss. It was very hit or miss for me. But overall, the movie looked really good. It just looked very, very detailed and very clean. I mean, it's an artificial kind of clean. This does have Dolby Vision HDR, like the other two releases did. And that Dolby Vision has enhanced the color to a degree where it just looks beautiful. Now, the one thing I like the most about this new transfer is that it looks a lot like the aliens of yesteryear. They did not wholesale change the entire color palette of the film, which I'm very, very happy about. It looked very natural, and it looked like the aliens that you may have seen in theaters 30-something years ago. Now, of course, I have not seen Aliens in theaters, sadly. I was non-existent when this movie came about. I premiered about 4 years after this movie. But I got a chance to watch it with my mom, and she had not seen this movie in a very long time. And I asked her if she wanted to see it, because she actually does like this movie. And she saw it in a theater when it was released, way back. And she was blown away by how incredible the movie looked. And she even said that looked just like it looked when I saw it in a theater, only nicer. That was her take on it. It just looked so much nicer. And I get it. Like, I'm glad that she said that to me, because I've only seen this movie on Blu-ray and DVD. Honestly, the Blu-ray of this had a very different look. The Blu-ray of this had now the older Blu-ray. Now the Blu-ray on this is a whole different ballgame. But it's a whole new transfer on the standard Blu-ray on this, I should say. But the older Blu-ray that I've had now for quite a number of years had this cyan teal kind of ramp up throughout the entire film. And they did that a lot with Blu-rays during that time period. They really amped up the blues and cyans and things like that to give it like a cooler look. This one here, they've dialed it back, and it seems that they've reintroduced reds and kind of straightened out the blues in terms of the color palette of the film. And the movie just looked naturalistic now, which I'm so happy about, because I have seen, trailers and stuff for this movie, and I realized that scene looked a lot bluer or greener on the Blu-ray. And now watching it on 4K, the movie, again, judging by what my mom said, and her memory's pretty good, it looked like the way she remembered it back in the theater. And that's pretty cool. It just looks a lot more detailed, a lot more beautiful, and that's the technology at work. That's the technology we have. Again, James Cameron oversaw all of these releases, and I'm glad that he didn't feel the need to overhaul the color palette of the film to a crazy degree. I noticed some pretty heavy changes with True Lies and The Abyss with some of the colors. For this, I'd say this is probably the best of all three transfers, in my opinion. I really love the look of Aliens, and if you are a fan of this film, the picture quality on it, if you can deal with some of the technology that's been used to clean up the picture and smooth some things out and sharpen other things, you're going to enjoy it. I really liked it. The black levels on the disc were amazing. I really, really like them. The darker scenes looked so much better than any previous release, and that is because that HDR and the higher resolution can now differentiate those shades of black. The darker scenes now just look naturally better than they ever have. So big thumbs up for Aliens on the picture quality alone. It was awesome, absolutely awesome. That Dolby Vision goes a long way for this movie. Now, in terms of audio, much like the other two releases, this has a Dolby Atmos track, and the audio on this was kick-ass. I absolutely loved it. The sound effects of everything. This movie's got a lot of sound going on. It's a loud movie. The sound effects sounded incredible. The aliens shrieking, things moving above you, behind you, around you. It was a totally immersive experience, and I loved every minute of it. It was scary. It was exciting. James Horner's music, as I mentioned earlier, that score just pounding, driving, incredible stuff. Dialogue was crystal clear all throughout. Sound effects were perfectly placed. I loved it. Contender for one of the best audio tracks I have ever heard in my home theater ever. Just astounding stuff with that Dolby Atmos track. This is a buy for the audio alone. No kidding. It is that good. You got to kind of hear it to believe it. It's fantastic. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are a bunch of special features on here. The 4K disc and the Blu-ray, again, include two versions of the film, the theatrical and the special edition. I watched the special edition. It looked, it looked really good. All of my former comments about the picture quality have to do with that special edition. No dips in picture quality. Everything was great across the board. So awesome there. There is an audio commentary on the 4K and the Blu-ray by James Cameron, various cast and crew. And when you play the movie in the special edition, there is a short introduction from director James Cameron. That was also a carryover from the older Blu-ray. There's even an isolated score track of James Horner's music. That's pretty awesome. And there is a direct access to the new added scenes that are in the special edition, in case you don't want to watch the special edition, but you want to see those scenes. So that is on the 4K and the standard Blu-ray of the movies. And on the third disc, there is a whole ton of special features on there. There is the inspiration and design of Aliens, superior firepower, which is a huge very long documentary about the making of Aliens. I have seen that in the past. Again, these are all carryovers, pre and post production stills and footage. As a whole archive of marketing stuff that's on here. Kind of to wrap up, what is my opinion of the new 4K of Aliens? I thought this was a home run. Again, not crazy about the DNR and some of the technology used, but not, in all honesty, it really didn't bother me that much with this release. I can see some people having an issue with it. I am just glad that the movie looked very good for, I would say about 95% of the movie looked spectacular. I say this is a must-have if you're a fan of Aliens. It's hands down the best version of the film on home video ever. This is awesome. Again, the DNR, not great. Some of the other technology used, good and sometimes not good. It's kind of a mixed bag with that stuff. But this is the truest to the original look of the movie of all three releases. Now, if you want to pick this up on Amazon, I will leave a link in the description below. Last I checked, this wasn't available. This sold out real quick, and people are getting back ordered for, over a month. But when it does come back in stock, you can use that link to order it. Check that link just in case. And if you want to see the other reviews that I did of The Abyss and True Lies, I'll leave a link at the end of this video so you can see that. Again, thank you so much for coming back to Kavanaugh's Corner. I hope you enjoyed my review of Aliens. It's been amazing reviewing those three releases for you guys. The feedback I've been getting has been amazing. So many people have subscribed. So many people have watched these videos. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I do this out of love, and it's a passion for me. So the fact that you guys seem to enjoy it too, it really means the world to me. So thank you so much. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, help me out here. We are almost at 2,500 subscribers, almost there. So really appreciate it if you could do that for me. And until next time, I wish you guys all the best. Please stay safe and take it easy.